Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, welcome and thanks for joining. I think we'll go ahead and get started, right? I think we have people joining in, but I guess we can go ahead and get started. Let me just switch to and if you can stay just on mute, and if you have any questions, etc., feel free to ask it in the chat, the meet chat, and then also later on we'll open it up for question and answer as well. But preferably we'll just go through the questions that are posted in the chat and start to answer them later on in the presentation. So welcome again and thanks for joining the webinar. Today we are going to talk about the migration of VMware VMs and data to cloud native infrastructure. We have, as a company, we have been actually very, very active in the migration scene. We're based out of Santa Clara, California, but have a team all over in different parts of the world. As a company, we have been offering cloud migrations, backup, restore, and infrastructure management as a service. And so far, we actually have been doing migrations, and I migrated successfully more than 1,000 clients, right, over the last 5-6 years. And our methods and logic that we actually built, we got awarded a US patent about a year ago as well, that you can look it up. We have been working across the board with various cloud providers, including IBM Cloud, Google, Microsoft Azure, and AWS. And we are an AWS migration acceleration partner and a gold partner with IBM Cloud as well. As you can see, you will see us very active in the different marketplaces in the cloud, whether it's AWS or Google Cloud or Azure, etc. We have integration with everybody, and we'll kind of go over a little bit of the demo and methodology that we use for the migrations. This is just an example of how Wanclouds has successfully partnered with IBM Cloud. We have been working with various cloud providers and specifically with IBM Cloud, and how we have successfully migrated many, many clients to IBM Cloud as well as across their cloud infrastructure. And you can see some of the blogs about the successes that we have created with that particular infrastructure. And if you look at them, they're fairly similar to how the AWS cloud is structured. And always the proof is in the pudding. If you look at what customers are saying about us, every time we do engagements with customers around our offerings, we do send surveys. And here are just some examples of customers basically providing us feedback, how they received our service and solution and our interaction with the client, and also the client interaction with our team as well. So, and as you can see, we have been working across the board with from system integrators to customers that are across the globe in different regions. Many of you have seen the VMware news lately, where the licensing scheme was changed, which unfortunately meant for many customers, 5x, 10x. We heard like all kinds of wild numbers in terms of their increase in the cost of ownership of their VMware, right? So every time now that you have to update or upgrade, or if your license is up for renewal, there is no longer a perpetual license, and you have to subscribe to their new licensing schema. So I'm just sharing some of the news that have been that you probably have seen in on the web. And in fact, if you are owning VMware environment, you're probably dealing with this as you speak. Not only that, VMware was also available on AWS, and it's no longer supported there. So if you are a VMware customer on AWS, you will have to migrate to AWS native infrastructure, or basically have a solution that's unsupported, which is not a good situation to be in. So what are basically the options that are available, right? And from Wanclouds' perspective, you probably also saw this very recently. How are we helping customers, and how are we addressing the challenge of VMware? And we created an offering that actually simplifies this migration of VMware, infrastructure to AWS or IBM Cloud, or we can take it to other cloud providers as well. And more importantly, this is part of our managed service offering, which we introduced as well, that we've been helping customers. We understand that migrations is typically a very, very stressful activity for customers. It's also a very costly activity. So if customers who have up to 100 VMs or 150 or 150 or less, we will migrate those infrastructure, those VMs and data for free. And I'll go in the next slide about the overall offering that this is actually part of. And it's orderable via our website or through a cloud marketplace like AWS and IBM Cloud and so on. And we have actually opened this, and this offering will be available, special offer, until the end of this year, right? So it doesn't matter if you have VMs or data, if you have containerized workloads like Kubernetes, etc. We will migrate all of those to cloud native infrastructure. And why are we so confident that this process works? Not only as I shared that we have been able to do more than 1,000 migrations, but the approach we developed, those of you who are in the US are familiar with the U-Haul service, which is a moving company. So we created a digital U-Haul, which is not only a service, but also an experience. And this is a combination of our product, which is called VPC Plus, combined with our expertise and support. And all of this packaged is actually enabling to make this migration a smooth process for customers. And not only that, with the same approach, we can also perform backing up the infrastructure, right? Also perform cost optimization, and as well as other insights into the infrastructure on an ongoing basis. This is our offering overall from Wanclouds' perspective. We have cloud migrations is one of the key service that we have, whether you're moving from on-premise or cloud to cloud. As I mentioned, this is leveraging our own intellectual property, IP, VPC Plus with our service. We can migrate servers, Kubernetes, data, network resources. We have been pretty much active in all, and the service, the other areas that we have for DR and cost optimization. So customers who are not ready to completely get rid of their VMware, for example, and if there is a cloud provider like IBM Cloud, which has a VMware Cloud Foundation offering, we can migrate customers to VCF as well. And then more importantly, if you have things running on the VMware environment like containerized like Red Hat OpenShift, or you have your own self-managed Kubernetes clusters, we can migrate them to cloud native or cloud managed Kubernetes clusters like EKS, IKS, GKE. You probably have heard these things along with the persistent volume claims and data. Okay, and you can restore these on demand as well. So we can back up the infrastructure in case you're not ready to migrate. We can completely migrate. We can back it up. And once you are on these clouds, we can actually perform on an ongoing basis cost optimization. And the complementary offering is actually available as part of our managed service offering, which is we will help set up the cloud environment. And part of that will be able to manage the devices, the infrastructure that is in the cloud. We will be able to back it up and continuously make sure that your infrastructure is protected. And more importantly, also on an ongoing basis, perform spending optimization, which you will have visibility to as well as monitoring and ongoing consultation. So overall, what is our value proposition as Wanclouds? We want this to be an accelerated and predictable approach, right? This is what we believe in. Things have to be simple. It has to be quick, fast, and cost-effective, right? The other thing is we don't have surprises in terms of price. It's fixed price. So I know oftentimes we have some delays and things can, change a bit here and there. Those are perfectly fine. Once we scope, we don't, for the most part, unless there is a drastic change to what the requirements were in the beginning, this remains as a fixed price approach on a per VM basis, right? And as I mentioned, it's very comprehensive, where we not only cover VMware, but pretty much all the other, Windows, Linux, Kubernetes, Red Hat, OpenShift, and if you're already in VPC, we will help configure those VPC, all the resources, etc. And flexible. So we'll work according to your schedule, work with you on that, and come up with the best approach. And the whole process is actually fully managed, right? Meaning you don't have to worry about installing extra tools. Even if you have little knowledge of the destination cloud, like AWS or other clouds, that's perfectly fine. Our team basically covers it, and everything is offered through a single pane of glass. This is how VPC Plus actually looks like as a bird eye view, where we have our own data model and orchestration mechanism. This is how we got assigned a patent for this, where we can hook into source environments and transform that, and bring it to a destination environment on the, some of the major cloud providers. So overall, you can also go to our website to find more resources, to wanclouds.net, and you can browse around and you will find demos, etc. And if you have requests to move to one of the cloud providers, please submit that request through our portal as well, and we can, our sales team will follow up and will take things from there. So with this, I'm going to, pass it on to my colleague Taib, who's going to share with you the demo. So Taib. Yeah, we can
Yes,
see
yes.
it.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So thanks, thank you, Faz. So in today's session, I'll be just demonstrating a use case where we seamlessly migrate the VMware workloads from the VMware environment, regardless whether that is on any public cloud provider or on-prem, right? And also, I'll give you a high-level walkthrough of our product VPC Plus. So as you can see on the screen, our product VPC Plus, it's actually a SaaS-based product. And we have integration with major public cloud providers, as Faz mentioned. So we have integration with AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google, IBM Cloud, and we also have an integration with VMware. So how it actually works is if I navigate here to the cloud account section, so based on the use case that I want to leverage it for, right? So I'll need to add the cloud accounts here. So whether I want to migrate something from one cloud to another cloud or from VMware to AWS or IBM, etc., I'll need to add some of these credentials, right? So in the case of VMware, I'll need to provide some of the credentials. So I'll just stay specific to VMware to cloud native migration in this demo. Right. So once I'll provide the VMware credentials, and also I'll need to provide the destination cloud credentials. In this case, if this would be AWS or IBM or any other cloud, right? So in the case of AWS, I can provide the access key, secret key, and then I can also enable some added-on features that we have integrated, that is cost optimization and recommendations, etc. Once we migrate over to the cloud. So once the cloud accounts are added, what VPC Plus actually does, it runs a discovery on that cloud account. And if there are already any cloud services or cloud resources that are created within that cloud account, so it will automatically fetch that. So you can see on the screen in the summary section. So there are a couple of VPCs, some subnets, instances. If there are any other EKS clusters, etc., those will be listed down here as well. So same goes for other cloud providers as well. So then there are some added-on features. As mentioned, there are some backup and disaster recovery that can be leveraged in cost optimization and recommendations, where if there is any right sizing required to any server or any instance, it will automatically recommend based on the user, etc. So sticking to today's session, VMware migration. So we have a dedicated section for that, and we have in-house designed migrators that we leverage for this scenario, right? So in the interest of time, I'm going to demonstrate a recorded demo, just so just give me a second. I'll present the recorded demo with you.
Or Taib, you can go over the one you normally presented, so it should be okay as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so my screen is visible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So how it actually works is if I navigate to VMware and Data Migrator section here, right? So there are two tabs, migrations and migrators, right? So we have in-house designed migrators that we leverage in these scenarios. So we'll need to set up the migrator to migrate the VMware VMs to cloud native, right? So, and the migration type will select the VMware, and there are some certain prerequisites that each cloud has, and then there are some steps that needs to be followed to set up the migrator correctly, right? So once the migrator is set up, you'll be able to see the migrator here in the migrator section, and then we can move to the migrations tab and get started. Again, we'll select the VMware to cloud option here, and then we'll go next, right? And once we are at this page, we'll need to provide some of the information related to the source environment and also the destination environment. We can give it any name, and then we can select the migration type, right? Whether it is an individual ESXi or a vCenter environment, we can select that, and then provide some of these source environment details that would help us discover the source environment and then eventually migrate that to the target cloud, right? So once these details are filled out, we'll need to fill the destination environment, right? So we'll need to add the cloud account where we want to migrate these VMware VMs, and then obviously the region where we want these VMs to go. And then we'd require an S3 bucket as well for the transition purpose to store the data and the backups temporarily, right, while the migration happens. So once all of these fields are populated, right, we'll go ahead and create the migration. And then once the migration is created successfully, we can just perform a discovery and discover all the VMs that are running on the VMware environment.
Okay, Tayyip, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah, I can. Sorry, my bad. So just bear with me for a few seconds, and the discovery will complete, right? So once the discovery is complete, okay. So here the discovery is complete, and we can go ahead and select the VMs, right? So once we select the VMs, we'll be, looking at all the VMs that are running in my VMware environment. So there are two methods to migrate, right? So we can also migrate the live VMs, right? And we do have another approach where the customers can deal a little bit of a downtime, right? So we have both approaches where we can migrate the customers out of VMware to cloud native VMs. So this specific use case is where a downtime is involved, right? So you can see all the list of the VMs and the status that they are in a running state. So this particular VM, that is the test VM, it's in stop state, and we'll migrate this within this demo, right? So you can see the details for the operating system, the disk capacity, etc. And then just select this VM. We can select multiple VMs if we want to migrate that, but for this specific scenario, we'll only migrate one, right? So once we click on the migrate button, it will initiate the migration. So what will actually happen in the background is the snapshot of the VM will be taken, right? And then the conversion of that snapshot will be performed as per the requirements from the cloud, destination cloud, right? And then that bootable image or the snapshot will be, exported to S3 bucket. And once it is in the S3 bucket, you'll be able to see the status as migration successful, right? So this will be as available as a bootable image in the S3 bucket, and from there we can just simply create an EC2 instance or a virtual server on the cloud native on the cloud environment, right? So here we can just create a VSI, select the cloud account where we want to create it, right? And then we can go ahead. And these are just some of the details that we need to populate related to the instance that we want to, create. We can select the instance profile, any configurations that we want to do, any SSH keys that we want to add. We can add all of those here. And once we are done with these configurations, with one click, we can go ahead and create that instance. So, just bear with me for a few seconds, and the instance will be provisioned on AWS in this case, right? So this is how seamlessly we can take a VM that is currently running on a VMware environment and migrate it over to as a left and shift and holistic way, right? So we can migrate that to AWS, IBM, and other clouds as well that we have integration with. Yeah. So if so far, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I have a question. I'm not sure if this is Aftab Ahmed. My question would be, is there any lower version requirements for the VMware when we're trying to migrate the VM from any virtual center? Like, is it like, what is the lowest supportable version of VMware, vSphere, for this tool to work?
Believe say version 5 dot, what is it, 5.5? Because you're not really moving from it's not so much the VMware version of Thub. It's basically the workload. Like if you're running a Windows or Linux, right? And the version that you are running, because you're going to take those VMs to cloud. So the thing you need to worry about is basically the versions that are supported in the cloud in the destination, like AWS or so on, right? So you cannot take obviously an older version there, right? So we don't really care much about the VMware environment itself, right? Meaning, unless it's like very, very old. Typically what we find is 5.5 or I think higher. Shiraz, correct me, right? Those are typically what we see.
Yep.
But you need to
Yep.
worry more about basically the workloads that you are running and are they supported in the destination cloud. Okay. Any other question, comment from anyone? Yeah, you can always feel free to reach out to us on our website and put a request there. You can browse through some of the content that we have there, and we'll be more than happy to follow up and have a call with you regarding your specific requirements, whether you're moving from on-premise to one of the cloud providers. We have done, as I mentioned, various migrations, and currently a lot of IBM Cloud, for example, they have VMware offering also available VCF on their cloud, as well as you can move to a non-VMware environment, which is their VPC environment. Similarly, in the case of AWS, if you already are on VMware and you need to move out of your VMware on AWS and move to EC2, or if you have some containerization done and you need to go to EKS, etc., we deal with that. Also, Red Hat OpenShift, if you need to migrate that, if you're running that on VMware environment, we have also done migrations of SAP on running on VMware. So we have dealt with basically different variety of workloads that are running on these source environment. But right now, if you are facing the issue of your licensing is coming up and you will have 5x or 10x increase in your cost of ownership, it's time to take advantage of these offerings that we have created to help make it a quick and smooth transition for you guys. Okay, with that, I think we'll if no further questions are there, Pablo has a question. This is basically a service, Pablo. The product is basically leveraged by our team. We can share this also with the customer as well. But the issue typically is that customers who are sometimes not familiar with the cloud, or they have to deal with the way the product actually works. It may take them a long time to perform that migration. So we cut short that process by not only having the product but with our team, and together make it a quick transition from their source environment to the destination. So it's offered as a managed service. Okay, I think we're at the bottom of the hour, so thank you so much. Appreciate everyone joining, and there will be a recording of this, so it will be available shortly for those who want to go through it. Okay, and feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.